Hello, and welcome to Benny's Alternate Universe. Today we're talking about a very sinister tape that was sent from hell at the request of King Diamond and the request of Benny's Alternate Universe, episode 27. When I said I'm tired of reviewing hair metal, I want some Merciful Fate tapes. I went out into a bulk trash pile in my neighborhood in Connecticut 2 days later and discovered the classic and fantastic album from King Diamond, Conspiracy, and I have it now. So thank you, King, or whatever evil entity. Thank you, Satan, for sending me King Diamond Conspiracy. I'm loving it. King Diamond, world famous, legendary vocalist of Merciful Fate, as well as his solo career, singer of some of the coolest thrash, gothic, heavy metal ever. Songs like Nuns Have No Fun, Come Into My Coven, Come to the Sabbath. Just great stuff. Love Merciful Fate. I got turned on to Merciful Fate by a boss of mine about 10 years ago. And he was cool. He turned me on to a lot of cool stuff. Thank you, Chris. Motorhead, King Diamond, and Iron Maiden, more so. I knew some Maiden, but he got me deep into Maiden. Anyways, King Diamond is kind of similar to Lemmy in a couple ways. First of all, they shared a drummer in Mickey D, and Mickey D did play drums on this album. It was the last album he would do with King Diamond before he went on to play with Motorhead. Right? I think he might have actually been playing with Motorhead already at the time, but regardless, I've seen Mickey D play with Motorhead, and he's a beast. So awesome. Big guy, very powerful drummer, and he's got Andy LaRocque from Merciful Fate on guitar, who is incredible guitarist. Just great riff after great riff. Fans of Megadeth would definitely like Merciful Fate, King Diamond. Fans of early Metallica, Merciful Fate was a big influence to them. And when King Diamond went solo, which is kind of a misnomer because I think he kept all the original Merciful Fate lineup, or most of it. It was more of some kind of contractual problem with his distribution in Europe. You know, it's weird over there. I don't know. They felt it was better to change the name of the band and just be King Diamond. I mean, he was the focal point anyway. Always with his face done up with crazy makeup, weird outfits, all black, like a vampire count type thing. Great picture in here with the band, and I assume that's King Diamond's coffin that they're standing over there, because he's that kind of guy. He might be a vampire or some kind of undead thing, we don't know. Well, true fans know, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, and that's kind of cool there. Little anti-drug message here from Roadrunner Records. Those were the days, my friend. Stop the madness, there are better things in life. Roadrunners supports Stop the Madness campaign against the use of hard drugs. I thought that was so funny. So, soft drugs, keep them rolling. There's a great shout out in here too. Very special thanks to all the King Diamond bangers. And thanks to BC Rich Guitars and Proco Rats and Ernie Balls. I love all this stuff, you know. It's finding the tape is great because the music is awesome, but having the cover is almost half the fun. Especially see that Roadrunner Records label. You know, Roadrunner was a sign of quality back then. They put out all the early Sepultura records and really good stuff. So, King Diamond as a solo artist, pretty much exclusively, as far as I know, did concept albums. And this album is a continuation of the previous album, also a classic album, Them. Now, the one thing that makes me like Merciful Fate more than King Diamond, or be into Merciful Fate more than King Diamond, is that a lot of times I didn't know what the deal was with the story, and that kind of hurt some of the hooks because they don't make sense outside of the storyline. So this one I'm making a little more of an effort, just because I feel that this was really sent to me by some kind of divine intervention, because I asked for this and now I have it, and it's kind of creepy and I like that. So I'm trying to get more into the storyline, but it's hard for me. You know, this is something that's always kind of, if there was something that turned me off about King Diamond, that was it, is that I couldn't get into these extended storylines. Like, this is a concept album that extends over the course of 2 albums. I never heard of that before, a sequel to a concept album. And I can really see why people get heavily into King Diamond because of that, because I think it's really cool. And when he does his live show, he'll act out parts from the whatever concept he's putting across, but it also takes a lot of commitment. So in this album, King is, I guess he was a child in Them, and he's now an adult. He's been released from the mental asylum where he was for 9 years, and he's trying to find his sister Missy, and I'm wondering if that is the same, if that's Melissa from the album Melissa. I don't know. It seems to me Merciful Fate had more kind of standalone type tracks, but I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I love Black Funeral. All hail Satan. Yes, hail Satan. And of course, King Diamond and Merciful Fate, especially King Diamond, is incredibly campy. That's definitely part of the fun, but the other part is just his band rips. I mean, if you like early thrash metal, if you like heavy metal music at all, I think if you have the opportunity to get your hands on a King Diamond album, pick it up and get into it. And Conspiracy is definitely one of his best albums. It's kind of hard for me to differentiate. It takes a while for me, put it that way. But At the Graves is sick. That's the first track on the album. The second track, Sleepless Nights, is also sick. Victimized. And there were songs that, like The Wedding Dream, Amman Belongs to Them. Amman is the mansion that King has inherited now from his grandmother who died, I believe, at the end of Them, but it might have been while he was in the interim between Them and Conspiracy. I don't know. I'm still trying to absorb it all. But sometimes we'll hear a little passage like this where the organ comes to the front, you know. I love the presence of all the keyboards, very cool texture, and makes it more camp and gothic. And of course, King's vocal is all over the place in a great way. He's an awesome singer. Huge range. He acts out different characters. Them are acted out in kind of like very, very gruff voice. And now they're speeding up. This is an album that you want to listen to the entire album. And once you get it going, you kind of want to listen to it over and over again. But it also has that King factor where, for me, I don't want to... I get tired of his voice. I hate to say it, you know, but it is so extreme. But at the same time, it's just, if you want to hear some really cool original metal from the era, this is from 1989. Same time that Injustice for All was all over the airwaves and things like that. This was boiling away in the underground. Interesting passage here. This is starting to become a real hook for me, this part of the album. And it's great. So, thank you once again. All hail Satan for giving me the King Diamond Conspiracy tape. If you see this tape, if you see any Merciful Fate or King Diamond tapes, just go ahead and grab them because they're very consistent. They're very King Diamond. If you don't like it, hey, you know, you gave it a shot. The music, you know, is going to be great. The drums are awesome. The guitars are awesome. And, but who knows? You might be a huge King Diamond fanatic. You really might. And that's all I got to say about King Diamond on Benny's Alternate Universe. I think my chicken has cooled off enough to where I can eat it and hop into bed. So everybody have a wonderful night, and I hope I have more treasures. Actually, I also found Night Songs by Cinderella, so I would say very good chance I'm going to review that. That album rocks. Great album. Until then, Benny's Alternate Universe. Thanks for spending the time. I'll see you soon.